Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. On the agenda tonight, we're taking a look at Jesse Winchester and he's going to be playing through Shamaling Dong Ding. And this is coming from 2009 and it's one of those songs that you have to listen to the whole way through. So I'm going to let it play uninterrupted and then get into the analysis at the end. Also, if you get a chance to get the lyrics to this song up on screen, it's definitely worth following along as well because the name of the song will make a little bit more sense when you're following along with what Jesse's singing. But let's get Jesse up on screen and see how he gets on.
The boys will sing in Shilling the summer night we met. You were 10 and 17, oh how could I forget? When every star from near and far was watching from above, watching two teenagers fall in love. The way we danced was not a dance, but more a long embrace. We held on to each other and we floated there in space. And I was shy to kiss you while the whole wide world could see. So Shilling said everything for me. And oh, the poor old folks, they thought we'd lost our minds. They could not make heads or tails of the young folks' funny rhymes. But you and I knew all the words, and we always sang along to old Shamaling Dong Ding, Shamaling Dang Dong. So after years and after tears and after summers passed, the old folks tried to warn us how our love would never last. And all we get was soaking wet from walking in the rain and singing Shama Shingling again. And oh, the poor old folks, they smile and walk away. But I bet they did some Shama-Lama ding-dong in their day. I bet that they still close their eyes, and I bet they sing along to old Shamaling Dong Ding, Shamaling Dang. Oh, those sweet old love songs, boy, every word rings true. Shamaling Dong Ding means sweetheart, Shamaling Dang Dong does too. And it means that right here in my arms, well, that's where you belong. And it means Shamaling Dong Ding, Shamaling Dang Dong.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's it, Jesse. The show's over. You finished me off. It happened at rehearsals. It happened now.
I'm just gonna jump in there, keeping it all together. And like Elvis said at the end, Elvis Costello, obviously, that it's ruined him and it did the same to him in rehearsal because of the way that Jesse delivers the song. And he's got the voice that just connects. And looking at the title of the song, you don't really know what it's about until you follow along with those lyrics. You start to get the meaning. Getting into an analysis of this kind of performance is so difficult because of the way it's delivered and the art that it is. Like I said at the beginning, you've got to watch it the whole way through because it ebbs and flows, and a lot of that is just Jesse with his delivery, but also the way that he is so deliberate with his guitar playing. We've got fingerstyle here, and you can just listen to the way it flows, and that's all part of the emotion that Jesse's playing with. He's editing that playing so that the playing on the guitar flows with that delivery that he has vocally. As you can see from this performance and everyone watching, they're captivated by Jesse's ability to deliver the story, connect with the story, but also the way that he uses his voice, because it's got that talking quality to it. He does have some great range in there as well, but he delivers it in that relaxed style, so it's got a breathy quality to it. Another thing I want to draw your attention to here is the quality of the guitar playing, because it's certainly something that's going to fly under the radar because of the quality of the writing and the vocal delivery. Because we've got great fingerstyle playing here, and there's some really subtle hammer-ons in there that make all the difference, and some great chord changes. The progression here is so melodic, it's so musical. The sequences that are going on with that right hand, in order to play this faultlessly, as Jesse does, fingerstyle, with bar chords as well, that's another thing. Seamlessly getting into these super clean bar chords. And it is such a stripped back performance that anything other than perfection on that fretboard is just not going to work, because it's going to take the attention away from that lead vocal. Jesse is perfect the whole way through, and that's the reason that you get taken in by this performance and taken in by the art. It's one of those things with great singer-songwriters who do play an instrument, whether it be piano or whether it be guitar. It doesn't really matter what they're playing, but when they're singing, the instrument just becomes part of the music. It's almost like they're not playing it because it is so well played. And everybody that does play fingerstyle guitar will know the amount of concentration it takes to sing with a free-form vocal melody and vocal phrasing whilst playing that fingerstyle guitar and having those sequences played with that right hand. Those sequences on the right hand, in order to be so automatic and subconscious, have got to be rehearsed so much, and this is something that Jesse might not get the credit for, and a lot of singer-songwriters don't get the credit for, is the ability that they have at their instrument. They're generally just overlooked because the playing isn't under the spotlight, because they connect so well with the song. But more often than not, singer-songwriters have got a top technical ability at their instrument. Bob Dylan said himself that you can't have a conversation about the best songwriters and not have Jesse Winchester's name in there. And it might be a name that you don't know, that you haven't heard of. And his songs have been covered by Joan Baez, Emmylou Harris, the Everly Brothers, Elvis Costello, as we can see here, Jackson Browne, James Taylor. There are so many more known artists that have got massive respect for Jesse. So we can ask the question, why don't we know more of Jesse Winchester? And certainly here in the UK, he's a name that not a lot of people would recognise, but he started playing early on. He was influenced as a kid by blues and rockabilly and gospel music, and he used to play the piano, and that's what he started on, and also played the organ at church. By the time he got to university, he was playing in a rock band, and he graduated from university in 1966, and this is where he got his military draft, and this was around the time of the Vietnam War, and he got this in 1967, and he said that he was offended by somebody coming up to him and telling him who he should kill and what his life is worth. It's not something that he agreed with, and he moved to Canada in 1967. So when he arrived in Canada, he only had a few $100s to his name, and he started playing at bars and clubs. He also started playing in local bands and started writing his own music, and that's when he decided to go forward as a singer-songwriter. So 3 years later, Jesse got his first break because Robbie Robertson from the band heard him playing, and Robbie said that as soon as he heard Jesse playing and singing, he knew he was the real deal. And the band were big at this time because of the work that they'd done with Bob Dylan, and he made sure that Jesse signed with their management, and the manager at the time was Albert Grossman. And the first album that Jesse released was in 1970, and that was just called Jesse Winchester, and that was critically acclaimed. Everybody loved it, but the problem was, because of the nature of his leaving the USA and the circumstances, it meant that he couldn't tour in the USA. He could only play in Canada, which meant that all of these singer-songwriters that were in the USA had a massive market they could play to. And back in 1970 and the mid-70s, touring was a huge part of selling records. You had to get out there. You had to get on that circuit. But unfortunately, Jesse couldn't do that. Another problem was that the album wasn't available in the UK until the mid-70s. So it took quite a few years for it to get over the water. And in 1977, this is where President Jimmy Carter's had his official pardon for those who were draft evaders. So it meant that Jesse could come back to the USA. But this didn't really sit well, because Jesse did say himself that it didn't feel right to turn your back on your country, but then once the coast is clear, to come back and make money. But he did return. He didn't move back to the USA, but he did perform there, and he did appear in 1977 on the Midnight Special, and that was with Emmylou Harris, Little Feat, and Bonnie Raitt. And in 1987, one of Jesse's tracks called I'm Gonna Miss You Girl, that was released by Michael Martin Murphey, and that was a huge hit for him because it went to number 3 in the US country charts, and it went to number 4 in the Canadian country charts. In 2007, he was given the Lifetime Achievement Award by the American Society of Composers, Authors and Publishers, and unfortunately in 2011, he was diagnosed with cancer of the esophagus, and he had surgery and then was declared free of cancer, but unfortunately in 2014, he was diagnosed with bladder cancer, and that is the year that he died on April the 11th at the age of 69. But Jesse Winchester, one of those singer-songwriters that maybe a lot of people don't know of, but thankfully we've got these performances that we can look back on, and his music will always be around, and his songs are timeless because of the quality of the writing, but also Jesse as a singer-songwriter and a performer, and the way that he could deliver his songs, connecting with an audience and just captivating the audience with a performance such as this. But thank you so much for suggesting this video for me to take a look at, and keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one.